got to be pretty old to remember this one. All the young dudes carry the news. Boogaloo dudes carry the news. Mata Hoople. We're going to talk about some young dudes that are possibilities to manage the Rangers and maybe even some young dudes who might be playing here next year. That's next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, it's kind of sad as the reality of it settles in, isn't it? To think that just a couple of years ago, that was what we were doing about a month later than right now. And now, the Rangers are in the search for a new manager. Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan, Jeff Wilson. Got the Queen Cat over here today. We're glad to have her and you. We see lots of questions already about young dudes and even one about an old dude. So we'll try to get to all of them. We'll try to talk the young dudes, the old dudes. I actually had to look that line up. I never knew what they were saying on Boogaloo Dudes. You know the song? Are you familiar?
Magda Hoople, I think I only know one of their songs.
Okay. Yeah, it's old. It's an old song. It's an old song even for me, much less the rest of you. So anyway, let's talk about, the search and eventually in the course of the program, we want to try and define this era, right? This Bruce Bochy era. Let's see if we can put a little label, a definition on that. We'll talk about what's happening in the other playoff series, what happened yesterday and what's already happening today, and then get to our cleanup segment too. Lots to talk about. It's a busy season in baseball. For most of the teams, the offseason has begun, and for many of the teams, the lucky ones, they're still playing. So we'll split our time between that too. The odds-on favorite, Jeff, we know, is Skip Schumacher, and that's great. He's got a National League Manager of the Year under his belt. He only managed. I said it one time on the show. He had 2. I read that wrong on Twitter or somewhere, but anyway, he's got just the one. But he wasn't even really there for a full 2 years. Didn't he leave prior to the end of the season?
Right at the end.
So so one in 1 full year isn't bad.
Yeah. I mean, the 1 year with the Marlins, kind of out of nowhere, got him to the playoffs. David Robertson was on that team, and then the next year they fell off a cliff. There are, it was a very dysfunctional front office at the time in Miami, and he didn't want to exercise his option or didn't want them to pick up the option, whatever it was. So I think he bowed out with like 1 or 2 games left in the season. So here he is. When you think about his candidacy, I mean, he's familiar with the organization. He's a young guy. Might have a different kind of energy or whatever, and he's not that far removed from being a player, so maybe he can have a better sense of what the players feel. He was a coach on the same staff in St. Louis as Mike Maddox, so they know each other, and Mike likes him. So if Skip's the guy, that's a good sign. If you're in the camp. The very large camp that wants Mike Maddox back, I would assume that that relationship would be easy to forge and come up with a deal there.
Yep.
But I don't know a lot about the 23 and 24 Marlins.
No,
I don't know how they played.
I don't either.
And I don't know if I can name anybody on their rosters other than David Robertson.
Yeah. And we didn't see that much of Skip this year.
No,
He was around a little bit,
occasionally.
but we didn't really get to know him personally, if you will, right?
Correct. Met him in spring training. Always a nice guy. I spoke to him. His son is committed to play baseball at TCU, part of their 2026 class, and so I, of course, with my TCU background, I would talk to him and said it's a great place to go to school. The campus is beautiful, and all these things. So, that would be appealing if you're the manager of a major league team.
Sure.
That's 20 minutes from your son in college. But I don't know. Another thing that if you're Chris Young, and you probably need to act fast, because the Orioles job is a very attractive job. The Braves job just came open this morning.
Yep.
That's a pretty darn attractive job. And depending on which way they want to go, I would imagine that Skip Schumacher might be on their list.
Well, and he makes his offseason home in Southern California.
Yeah.
And we hear all the different names. And the reality is, somebody's already talked about Albert Pujols in the chat there. And the reality is, Albert Pujols, according to Ken Rosenthal, has been identified, according to sources, as the favorite to get that job. So good, but the reality, and it's funny, though, you haven't heard Schumacher's name at all.
Yeah.
With regard to that team, even though he's a hot managerial candidate and he lives right there.
Yeah. Also, and this was there early on, Michael Young lives in Southern California now. Michael Young is not a candidate for that job.
No.
I saw the tweet from Bob Nightingale yesterday, and I forwarded it to Michael and said, "Hey, I hope you enjoy your new endeavor." And he responded, "Hilarious." His kids are still all in grade school. And now they're older. I think they're all teenagers, but he's not wanting to manage. And so I would not put a lot behind that one. Although, Michael's well respected in the game, always has been. He's going to be part of Mark DeRosa's coaching staff on Team USA. Mark DeRosa is another name yesterday that came up in our chat, and we kind of ignored, not intentionally. I don't know. It would be hard, I think, for DeRosa to take a job now, and because it would Team USA would have to make a change, and I don't know, but it is an intriguing name, I guess, and he does have ties to the Rangers as a player with them.
And he's a really smart dude, and he's obviously had such a great platform to demonstrate what a big brain and a big baseball brain he has at MLB Network. And he was here, of course, as a player. All that said, it is interesting, and I know this doesn't matter quite as much anymore, but he's got no coaching experience other than Team USA.
Right. And I don't know that, honestly, managerial experience is something that teams really look for anymore. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Look at Stephen Vogt, who's gotten in his first 2 years has gotten the Guardians to the postseason without any experience, basically. And David Ross kind of did the same thing with the Cubs, as far as being a manager. And his name popped up that he wants to
get back into the
game and all that stuff. I would think that. There are other names. They've got to have other names. Yeah, and I would think that there are some guys who are bigger names, who are out there. Like the Twins just got rid of Rocco Baldelli.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that what happened to the Twins this year was his fault. They traded almost half the team at the deadline.
Right.
So maybe somebody like that.
When was he a candidate here? When Woody got hired?
In 2018, and I'm glad you brought that up. Baldelli was a candidate. So was Derek Shelton. And Derek Shelton is a name that is intriguing to me. I know he didn't do well with the Pirates, but who could have?
Right.
But so he would understand what it's like to work with young players, possibly with some financial restraints. But he made his name in coaching circles as a hitting coach. And if the Rangers want to need to resurrect their offense, why not have kind of an offensive mind in there? So that kind of intrigued me. And I saw I think it was Rarities. I guess Brett Boone was on the radio this morning.
Yeah, I heard that too.
And said
I didn't hear the interview, but I heard
said he'd
that
like to continue to coach. Well, like we've said, I think he has higher aspirations.
Sure.
Maybe he would like to be a manager. And maybe he gets a look at it. His brother's a pretty good manager. I know he gets a lot of crap because he's in New York and under the spotlight all the time. But baseball's in their blood. Not only was Brett's brother a manager, his father was a manager. So, it would be like a family tradition. So I don't know. Jace Tingler is still another name I can't get out of my head because of his ties with a lot of the guys in the front office. He never worked with Chris Young, though.
Okay.
So that's potentially something that would hurt him or hurt a Jace Tingler candidacy if that were to ever come to fruition. But, he had his hands all over the Rangers minor leagues I think he was a minor league manager, starting in 2008, maybe in the Dominican and in the Arizona Complex League, then a coach, then
farm director.
He was on the big league coaching staff at times. So Jace makes a lot of sense just because of all of his ties to the organization. So we'll see. We're going to talk to Chris Young later in the week. It's still pending. I doubt that he will have any names out there. The way they've conducted searches in the past is they tell us after the fact.
Yeah.
Now, of course, last go round, they interviewed Tony Beasley because he was the interim manager, and that was it.
Yep.
And they went to Bochy and dropped that information to us I believe it was on a Friday. And John Moore and I were doing our podcast with Cody Freeman. And right as we were about to end with Cody, who was in the Arizona Fall League at the time, we got that text message that said Bruce Bochy was going to be the next manager of the Rangers. So, it'll be quiet. They'll give some information as it happens. We can work our sources and all of that, but it's going to be a small group that knows what's going on. And I think Chris Young threatens to put them up to a firing squad if they leak anything.
Sure, and here's the reality that we can, I think, recognize from Chris Young. Will Venable was brought in here because Chris Young and he were teammates
right,
all the way back to college and friends, right? Nick Hundley is suddenly in the organization, not only on the pre- and post-game shows but he's in the front office with Chris Young as well. I think they might have been teammates in two different stops along their major league career. Bruce Bochy is a former manager of Chris Young, right? I mean, what's the I'm drawing a blank.
Dayton
Moore. Thank you, Dayton Moore. He was with the Kansas City organization when CY was there, right? There's a what is that? Some sort of a nepotism almost, right? With his teammates.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
No.
Because you know those people inside and out and you trust them.
And you can work with them.
Yeah, and I don't think it's worked. I don't think it's backfired in the case of any of those guys. So, but that brings the reality of Nick Hundley maybe being another young dude who's more than, who's a candidate, even though we don't hear his name much.
Yeah, a former catcher, and we all know about the former catchers. I mean, Robinson Chirinos might be in limbo in Baltimore with their potential.
He's been the bench coach.
He's been the bench coach, and everybody loves Robinson. I mean, what a great guy Robinson is, and he still lives in Arlington in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find guys out there in the game who would make sense for the Rangers, but if they want to act fast, I would imagine that I don't think they want to. I'm trying to think. Any guys who are like on teams that could go to the World Series and stretch this thing into October, like the Chris Woodward situation. He didn't interview formally until November 1st. They talked to him on the phone during the playoff run, but he was the Dodgers third base coach at the time, and so that thing went into November. I was in Washington D.C. when they hired him on vacation, and I'm pretty sure I'd been drinking, but that's all right. That's all right. So my point being, I think they want to get this done quick. I don't think they want their preferred list of candidates interviewing with other teams.
Right.
You don't want them to see what the other side looks like. I mean, look, what a talented roster the Atlanta Braves have.
Right.
Whatever happened
Ooh.
this season was just it was a train wreck of a season.
Yeah.
But my God, if you have a chance to manage Acuna, and Matt Olson and Chris Sale, I could keep going and going and going. I'd be pretty interested in that.
Yeah, and that's a good team. And reality is there are a lot of podcasts out there saying the same thing about the Rangers, right?
Yeah.
Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, Nathan Eovaldi, Jacob deGrom, right? I mean, there's a lot of appeal here as well. I wonder, too, let's bring this up in the next segment because we're almost at break time.
Break time.
But, geez, Pete's, we got so much to talk about. Can you see what we're doing here? It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And I was watching the ALCS game, too, the Guardians and the Tigers a little earlier. You know what I noticed they could use a pair of these? These are the OGs for me. 2 players in the first inning on the Guardians looked up in the sun and completely lost the ball. Well, I tell you this right now. I don't play any ball myself anymore, but I feel very confident I could look up straight in the sun and find that ball, Jeff.
Yeah.
I really do. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how good Shady Rays are. They need them. You need them. They're great sunglasses. They're polarized. They've got great styles, great colors. They're our favorite. They're my favorite for sure. And they're a long time, in fact, an OG partner with us. So we'd encourage you to go to shadyrays.com, find all the beautiful selection that they have. Know that you would get them repaired if you break them or replaced if you lose them. They're not super expensive. And if you use the code DLLS35, you're going to get 35% off your Shady Rays.
Another OG is Game Time. And, baseball season is over for us, unfortunately. And now it's time to move on. It's time to move on to football.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, Game Time is where you can get your NFL tickets. And in these parts, it means Cowboys. And going to games is a real special experience, especially if you can take your kids. They eat it up and absolutely love it. Just the environment, the whole atmosphere they think is fantastic. And there's nothing quite like Jerry World. But anyway, the Game Time app gives you a chance to find your seats, all-in pricing. Take a look at the view from your seats. And there's no hidden fees. That's an all-in price. So, look through the schedule, find you a Cowboys game, find you a TCU game. If you want to go to the Texans, go to a Texans games, whatever. Download the Game Time app, use the code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase.
Okay, so the topic where I was going to go right before the break had to do with actually similar things to what is being bandied about in the chat right now, and that is the financial considerations right now, right?
Yeah.
So, and this is first as it pertains to the manager, Jeff. And it felt to me like the hire of Jeff Bannister and Chris Woodward were hires that were like, well, you know what? We don't have to pay a manager that much, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't. I mean, neither one of those guys were paid among the top managers in the league. That's for damn sure. Obviously, I don't even know. I don't even know if we ever asked or cared what Bochy made. But he didn't work for the lowest managerial,
right.
Salary in the league.
Exactly.
He wasn't lured off his couch for that. And so, I wonder if that's a consideration here too. And I don't think, Skip Schumacher, he's in a position again as he's a hot candidate. I don't think he'd have to accept anything other than extremely competitive rate within the marketplace.
Yeah. And that is an interesting point. I mean, maybe the Rangers won't save on payroll, but maybe they can save a little money on their managerial, what they're paying the manager. It's the younger guys, the guys who've never been managers before, they do come cheaper. They're eager for the job. Jeff Banner's been waiting a long time. Had interviewed before. Chris Woodward also wanted to be a manager, and I'm sure they still want to be, and I think they've probably put themselves back in position either this year or in the future to maybe get a job. But they Chris Woodward came from a championship organization.
Yes.
And but was also, and the Dodgers were and probably still are a model franchise. He understood the numbers, the analytics at a time when the Rangers are making an investment in that. Bannister was kind of on the the forefront of the analytics, but also he'd been at Pittsburgh, which had some success with a mix of young players and veterans. But I don't, I think you need a manager who has big league experience. He offers a lot of credibility to players. And I know that when Bruce Bochy was hired, the players were like, this is Bruce Bochy.
Yeah.
And so, we're going to listen to him. So, anyway, I think whoever the manager is, whether he's 45 like Skip Schumacher or 64 like Bob Melvin, he's going to have some experience and he's going to command some respect.
Yeah, that's one of the old dudes we haven't really discussed. And the other one was way up at the top of the chat. Do we think Ron Washington will have an opportunity next year? And of course, you know how we both feel about him. I really hope he does. He is 72 years old, so I don't know that a team is going to want to do that in this day and age. It took him way too long to get that Angels job after leaving the Rangers organization, Jeff. I mean, it was silly to me that nobody else would hire him right when he left, or the year. I mean, and he was a third base coach. He was a prominent figure in Atlanta and Oakland again.
Oakland, yeah.
After he left here, but he should have been. He absolutely should have been a manager sooner than just 2 or 3 years ago. Whenever it was that he went to Anaheim.
Yeah. I haven't talked to Wash. I wanted to give him a little time, but he has said that he was told he was fired for performance. Look, when he went on the medical leave list, the Angels were 2 games under 500.
Yeah.
Okay. They finished about 19 or 20 games under 500. I don't think this is Ron Washington's fault. It was ridiculous that the Angels fired him, and the excuse. I mean, they must not think that he's going to be healthy after his open heart surgery.
Yeah.
Whereas, as we know, Ron Washington, he's going to fight like hell and do all he can to be back in shape and be a manager again. And I would love for him to come back to the Rangers in some capacity. Special assistant manager, of course, would be a thrill for us. But I just to see him back doing something with this organization would be fantastic. But if the Atlanta job opened, I don't know, maybe they would hire Wash. It'd be popular.
Oh my gosh!
And
heck of a point.
But anyway, we love Wash. We've made no secret about that. Nope. So that would be great. But I don't know that it's going to happen. But it'd be fantastic if it did.
It would, and I think Atlanta is actually something to think about, isn't it? Because he was extremely popular and well liked there in his role, and he was a part of that World Series team in 21, was it? So yeah, good for him, good for them. The other thing that comes up in the chat about the finances is how much does Ray Davis plan to strip this thing down? I think he's extremely limited in how much he can. Right. Corey Seager's not going anyplace, right? We think they'll try to do something with Marcus Semien, but he'd be still difficult to trade. And then it's a matter of how much money they still want to pay on his salary, because they're going to be paying a significant amount. And I don't think there's any chance that either one of those top 2 pitchers are going anywhere.
No, and again, I was the one who told Chris Young, hey, what you're talking about sure sounds like a rebuild. And he was like, I would not characterize it. We've not used that word. We still have a good core. We can still be competitive, and we plan on being competitive. Okay, great. So how do you do that? And when they talk about going younger, I think a lot of people just automatically jump to prospects. And, we're going to have Alejandro Osuna as our starting right fielder and Cody Freeman as our starting second baseman. Not necessarily. You can still get younger and find players. You can identify players in other organizations and try to trade for them. You can find younger free agents and try to get them. Even if it's just on shorter term deals, um, and until like, let's say a Walcott is ready, something like that. So I don't think that when they say younger, it means they're going to go into the farm system and have a bunch of unproven guys like a rebuild. They just need to get some different players. I think, though, that, and we've said it a couple times now, I think that this makes it more, I don't want to say likely, but increases the chances that Marcus Semien is traded. And yeah, you'll probably have to eat some contract, but you know what? You're still saving money.
Yes.
And if that's the ultimate goal here, then yeah, you can do it. And then you can take that money and repurpose it. And so I think there are a lot of ways to do it. I don't think that Corey Seager would be traded. I really don't.
I would imagine he's probably got some no trade.
He has. It's limited. It's 8 teams. I don't think Marcus has any no trade protection. So it's when you look at the Rangers and you looked at them this year and last year, they only had one hitter who you were just, if you're an opposing team, you're terrified of.
Yeah.
Corey Seager.
Yeah.
And, if he could be healthy, which is a big if for him, he's just a terrific player. And sure. I would take 130 games of Corey Seager over 160 games of Marcus Semien. I just would.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that he gets traded, even though, conversely, if you're looking at value, he probably has the most value. You could probably get the most in return for him, and then clear the books. I mean, I bet a team would take on his contract or the most of it. Now, there's a lot left on it, but you could argue he's a bargain at $30 million.
100%.
So anyway, that's
that said,
getting younger and saving money.
And I know things can change. Even like when Chris Young said to you, I wouldn't characterize this as a rebuild. No one's if you're getting rid of Corey Seager, that I would characterize that as a rebuild, right? I mean, how can you not say we're taking our best position player, the only one who's invoked any fear in the opposing pitcher for 2 years, and we're starting over? That's a rebuild. So I think that takes that off the table, at least on this day. Now, things change. Like we've always said, it's a great point that Jeff brought up and made. CY has a boss too. Right? And it's a boss. It's a man. It's a human being. And he can change his mind. You know what? Let's go ahead and do the rebuild. Right? It's an old man.
I'd say this. After, and I've said it before, after the December 1st, 2021, when they had signed Semien and Seager, Ray Davis looked at me and he said, "We're never losing 100 games again." All right? So you got that.
Yeah.
Also, Ray Davis, not a young man, if he were looking to sell the team, he would want to clear as much debt as possible.
Yes.
And getting rid of those big contracts would certainly make the Rangers more attractive to potential buyers. Now, there's been no talk that I've heard of Ray Davis looking to step aside.
No.
Or any thought of anybody else in the ownership group trying to buy him out or anything like that. It just hasn't come up. And Mr. Davis, he owns so much of the land around the ballpark. Right. I think he owns it all. And
they keep developing
and
it.
They keep developing
and he's
it.
Always
and he's
excited
making more
about
money
the development
and all this stuff. He's still sharp. If you, I told him this, the Adrian Beltre statue dedication, Ray Davis was the only guy who spoke from the Rangers ownership group, or not the ownership group, but like from the front off, from the organization. There we go. Thank you. Who didn't use notes in his speech. His mind is still sharp. He's still there and wants to, be a businessman and a shepherd of a major league team, but he wants to do it his way. He still runs it like a business. And as we also mentioned yesterday, I believe, you got to factor in this TV deal because they don't have the money that they used to with Fox, and now they're trying to, or with Bally, whatever, and now they're trying to come up, pay these bills on their own. Probably need to pull back and save a little money.
Yep.
If I'm a business owner, I'm thinking that.
Yep. A little bit harder to do. So anyway, that's that. We've got more coming up. Let's talk about what's happening in these other playoff series, how much fun October baseball can be, how much we miss it. It's all coming next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. All right, so what we want to talk to you about now is our supporters club. It's a fantastic new venture that we're throwing out there. And, we sometimes do say, we hate to, tell you got to pay some more money. This is so little money. I don't even hate bringing it up. It's just $15 or either $5 to get yourself some true sicko level stuff. The reality is, skip the 5, pay the extra 10 and get the 15 so you get everything and really truly get to that sicko level. This supporters club is, it's cheap to join and you get a lot back from it because what we're going to do is give you lots of behind the scenes content that we have available, things that we do behind the scenes specifically for you. And I think sometimes we're probably even going to have some cameras rolling when we don't know they're rolling, which will make it fun too. So anyway, join the supporters club today.
Yeah, and while you're out there spending your hard-earned dollars, become a diehard, and my God, do it now.
Yeah.
We have 2 sales, 2 special offers right now. One, $59 for 1 year, and you get that hat on your screen, the one on my head. It's a pretty sweet hat. I'll just leave it at that. It's light, breathable. It's from Branded Bills, who we've partnered with in the past too. So anyway, that's one. 2 is just our good old go-to sale price of $36 for 1 year, and you still get the free t-shirt. So basically, it's like you're getting it for free. So go ahead, avail yourself to those sales because A, they won't last forever, and B, if you're a baseball fan, you're gonna want to have access behind our paywall because there's going to be so much that happens this offseason. It's going to be crazy. I mean, we're 3 days in, and a lot has already happened.
Yeah, you're already writing every day.
So it's time to become a diehard if you aren't already.
Okay, so right now the Tigers and Guardians are playing, and it's 1-1 now in the 4th. Once again,
I think is it just 1-1?
Is it more?
Okay. Apparently, there's a review that took a run away from the Tigers.
Oh, is that right? Did they make it 2-1 and they got overturned? Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So it's 1-1. You know what? Looking at that game yesterday, man, I thought it was amazing in that there was essentially, I don't know, maybe a safety squeeze, but a squeeze bunt to score the winning run, man. I love that. Now, does that mean your team's offensively challenged? Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe. But that, you know what? That's different ways. That's what we talked about all year with this Rangers team. Different ways to get that runner at third base home. That was fantastic. But nothing in that game was as amazing or fantastic as watching Tarek Skubal just carve them up. 14 strikeouts. Jeff.
How about the pitching around these series yesterday? You know, the
Garrett Crochet. Yeah.
Well, Max Fried was pretty darn
Max
good
Fried,
too.
that's right.
And then I didn't. Blake Snell was looking like he was about to turn in a good one by the time I went to bed. Low scoring games. Well, the Dodgers game wasn't low scoring.
Yeah, it was 8-0 when I went to bed.
The first 3 were low scoring games, really tight, well pitched, the way postseason baseball is supposed to be, where it puts a premium on things like defense and doing what the game asks you to do. I think. If I'm not mistaken, the Tigers had only had 4 sacrifice bunts in the regular season.
Wow.
Which was second fewest in baseball to the Orioles, who had 3. All right.
I would have guessed the Rangers were up there.
Well, they had a few, but it's not like it used to be. And of course, with the pitchers not batting anymore, it doesn't doesn't happen. But it was if you like pitching, which I do, was a pretty fun day.
Yeah, it was a
yesterday.
really fun day. And, the reality is, and again, the Guardians are extremely offensive challenged. They, worse than the Tigers, maybe unbelievably, as almost as bad as the Rangers. They are the first team, Jeff, in postseason history to enter the postseason with an on-base percentage under 300.
Holy moly.
As a team. And it's like 296 or 298 or something. But still, the first ever to have an on-base percentage that's that low. So, yes, they're not facing Tarek Skubal today, but they aren't. It's not like they're knocking Casey Mize around if it's 1-1, Jeff, in the fifth inning. Top of the fifth.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's just the byproduct of where we are in an era of hitting where, driving the ball and power takes some precedence sometimes. But that's a pretty staggering number.
Yeah.
That really
isn't that amazing?
Shocking.
Yeah, I know. And I hope, even though you and I are both saying we like pitching, I always have. A pitcher's duel is one of my favorite things because at any moment somebody can run into one. You can make one mistake and the entire game changes. So I really enjoy that. But a 296 on base percentage, man, I don't want any part of that for the long-term future. Because again, pitchers these days aren't that good. I mean, there are some, but not across the board. They should definitely be better offensive, especially with a guy like Jose Ramirez on the team. That guy's unbelievable.
Right. I mean, he's probably the reason why it's 296 and not worse.
Yeah, heck of a point. In that Dodgers game, first pitch, Ohtani. It's over a 100-mile-an-hour pitch, and Ohtani hits it 117 miles an hour out.
Man.
I mean, good gosh, this guy's unbelievable. He hit another one, by the way, in the game of 454 feet. So
he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's great. And I think Teoscar hit 2 in that one, too.
Yeah, I know that the Dodgers had scored 5 runs in 3 innings, but I thought that the Reds took Hunter Green out too early.
Yeah.
I thought they should have at least left him in there. I mean, at that point, if you think you're going to lose and he's not going to pitch again, but you still have 2 games and you're going to be managing those differently, you probably ought to ride out your starter a little bit more because your bullpen's going to be tired. If you win game 2 and then need the bullpen heavily in that game and then for game 3, I would have liked to have gotten a little more out of my starting pitcher, I think.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Yankees losing at home. The interesting stat there is that no team, and it's a short era, the current wild card era that we're in, but no team, I think it's 12 now, has lost game one of the series and then won the series. And that we know that there are plenty of road teams that have won, like the Rangers in 23 in Tampa, the Tigers last year in Cleveland, and others as well, I'm sure. So anyway, and right now, 2 of the road teams won game 1, Boston and Detroit. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if that trend continues.
Right. Yeah. And then after that, the interesting trend will be how many of the teams that got the buys lose.
Yes.
Because that's been a thing too.
Yes.
The week, I don't even know if it's a week, the 4 or 5 days off, it just takes the starch right out of you.
Yes.
And I was trying to pay attention to that a little bit. And it seemed like those teams, their regulars played, at least position player wise. So they were getting their at bats and staying sharp and doing that. The pitchers, especially the starters, you can't really just throw them in for a couple innings.
No.
If they just pitched the other day, so they have to do their bullpens and such here during this break. But I think Saturday is when the games begin for the division series, and that's 5 days off for the whole team, and it's hard to get going again.
It really is, and it's funny. I have a family full of sports and baseball fans, and they're all like, wait, all three of these games are going to be in Cleveland as it pertained to Detroit when we were there, or yeah. I mean, and that's I guess this is the third year of that, and that's to basically cut down the travel. You don't love the one game playoff, the one game wild card,
Yeah.
because anything can happen in one game.
Sure.
So let's do a 3-gamer. But if we do a travel day in between to give somebody home. It might even be 2 travel days. I don't know how you do it in a 3-game series. And so baseball just said, yeah, the higher wild card seed in that matchup has the games at home. And that seems unfair to the visiting team, and yet I don't think the numbers bear that out. I don't think it's been remarkably lopsided in favor of the home team.
Well, I'm trying to think. Last year, the Mets beat the Brewers. Or was that was in the No, that was in the division series. Anyway, well, the Rangers beat the Rays, right?
Right.
They were the
Tigers
the
beat
road
the
team.
Astros last year down there in 2 straight, just like the Rangers had beaten the Rays in 2 straight.
Yeah. No, I'm sure I'd have to do a little research,
Yeah,
but it doesn't seem like a huge disadvantage. To your point,
I agree. And we got to do that. We'll do that research on the division series and take a look and see because that's when the bye teams get back involved.
Yeah.
Because it does seem to have been. I mean, it definitely hurt. Was it Baltimore that had it against the Rangers? It was, wasn't it?
It was.
And the Rangers, just whipped up on them. So anyway, the Cubs Padres series has been fun because again, like the Cubs people are just kind of fun, like they haven't all these years and they've only been to the playoffs, I think like 40 times. I mean, it's amazing how long they've been a part of this thing. And anyway, so they won yesterday. But here's the thing, and this is kind of baseball today. Today they're going with an opener and, sort of pitching chaos. I'm like, game 2, now granted, you're using your pitchers right down to the end of the season, but you're going with an opener in game 2 of a playoff series?
Yeah, I don't know if that, if injuries are a factor there, maybe. If there's just a terrible matchup with what they have.
Yeah.
Or if they're trying to, I don't know, gamble, roll the dice a little bit and gamble that they'll get to the next round.
Right.
I'm not sure about that one, but the opener situation or a bullpen day, it can be chaotic for hitters.
Yes.
True. You're seeing it. You don't see the same guy twice. So
right.
You're getting, if you have 4 at bats, you're looking at 4 different guys with stuff that's different and things like that. So I can understand that, but at the same time, you're eventually you will run into a bad matchup, whether it's because of the 3-batter rule, the 3-batter minimum, or because you are trying to get an extra out of a guy or whatever. So it can backfire on you, I guess. And then we go back to the 23 because that's our reference point for everything. But the Diamondbacks did bullpen days, and they did one in the World Series, and it blew up on them. And,
big time.
In a game they really had to win. It was game 4, and they went with a bullpen game. And next thing you know, the Rangers are winning 11-0.
Yeah, but the other side of that coin is because of injuries last year, the Dodgers ended up doing a couple of games that were basically bullpen days, and in the World Series, and won the World Series. Conversely, last year, the Tigers, we mentioned, beat the Astros in 2 straight. But then, I mean, basically last year, also because of injury and trades, the Tigers were Tarek Skubal and then what A.J. Hinch dubbed pitching chaos. And they basically had 1 starter, and then that doesn't take you very far. They lost the divisional series to these same Guardians. So anyway, kind of crazy the way things are going in the playoffs right now, but it's always fun. And obviously, we wish so bad that the Rangers were a part of it, but they're not. So we'll have to figure out if they can get there next year. We've got more to talk about. Many of the things that were in the cleanup segment have already come up in the show.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so we may talk about a couple of things there, but also lots of questions and comments that we want to address coming up next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Hey, and we're doing a diehard takeover. One more reason to become a diehard, especially if you are a Dallas Stars fan, because on December the 7th, we are taking over the game at the American Airlines Center against the Penguins. Cool day for you. You come here to our studios and you watch our pregame show with the great Craig Ludwig, among all those other great guys, and Owen's going to be here in studio. I imagine Sam will be over there at the American Airlines Center already, but we'll see how that plays out. You'll be here. Then you go down to Hooters.
Hooters?
Yeah, you do a little pre-gaming at Hooters, and you just watch with amazement how Luds can pregame. Then you go on over to the game, and you hang out, and you have fun, and you watch the Stars beat the Penguins. And Jaromir Jagr, is he still there? Yeah, I don't think so.
Is Mario Lemieux still play
Mario,
for him? Yeah. I remember, we got to talk about becoming a newsletter subscriber.
Yes,
which is totally free.
Yep.
And it's easy to do. You go to our homepage, you go to the bottom, and there's a little link for you to sign up. All you have to do is put in your email address. No credit card numbers, no social security numbers. We don't even want to know your home address. We just want your email so that you can get Ali's newsletter, which links to a lot of the things that we're writing, the things happening with our teams. It's a great way to just get a quick footnote, Cliff Notes version of what's happening with every team. I looked at it this morning. There was something on all 4 clubs, including the mighty Texas Rangers, and then the links to our stuff, which if you're a diehard, you can access. So give it a test drive and see what you think.
Yeah, we would love that. We would love for you to do that, and that's one where we ain't asking you for money. And yeah, you're right. Gallagher Champ Mario is a part owner these days.
Okay, so
the Penguins.
Chuck Greenberg was Mario Lemieux's attorney.
Ah, okay.
And Chuck's from Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
had ties to the Penguinos, and
lived up there until he bought in here.
And then he. So we're at Yankee Stadium for the ALCS that year in 10, and I go over and say hi to Chuck, and he goes, "Hey, I want you to meet my friend," and it was Mario Lemieux, but I'm pretty sure he said, "Hi, I'm Mario," which is why I say Mario. Anyway, I shook his hand. His hand was so big.
Yeah.
He's a giant guy.
Yeah.
He is enormous. I just could not get over how big he was, but. He said, "Hi, I'm Mario," and shook hands, and that was it. Anyway, huge guy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Just trying to. Where is he actually?
Well, see, Gallagher Champ said he learned that on Jeopardy. That he's part owner.
Really? Okay.
Pretty good Jeopardy question from Ken Jennings.
Okay, and he is Montreal. I didn't know if he was French or just French Canadian. He's from Montreal, so he's French Canadian.
Okay.
And great. I mean, he was unbelievable
very good
as a player. So, and Chuck Greenberg was pretty fun. We're still friends. When we had him on the show, Chuck. I think last year in the winter meetings.
Like Chuck a lot.
Yeah, we like Chuck very much. All right, so the one thing in cleanup, if you haven't seen it yet, and I don't think we can show it because the only place I saw it was various shots from games, and we can't show those per MLB rules. But Joe Kelly throwing out the first pitch.
I missed it.
Okay.
But he's a character.
He is a character, evidenced by his outfit when he threw out the first pitch. So he's wearing an open-collared, nice shirt with chains and stuff like that, right? I mean, way open, like way down to the S and DLLS here.
Oh, wow.
And then a pair of blue slacks and this jacket that's got writing and
it's kind of like a mariachi band jacket.
Funny you should mention that.
Oh, okay.
It looked just like the kind of jacket you would see on a guy in a mariachi band. Well, lo and behold, he traded it with a guy in a mariachi band who played at Dodger Stadium for his jersey. And he wore it out there to throw out the first pitch. Is that not fantastic? And Joe Kelly he's always been sort of that guy,
Yeah, right.
I think, like you say, a character, in general, I think there were some negative things in there too, I suppose. But in general, I've always liked his bit.
I enjoyed his first appearance against the Astros after the Astros cheating scandal, and I can't remember the details, but I do remember he walked off the mound and looked in their dugout and went boo. So I do remember that.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid to taunt or to incite the other team, if you will. So kind of fun. All right, so let's get to some of the things in the chat. I think Gallagher Champ said that I guess I have a crutch phrase or crutch word, reality.
Well, the reality is, John.
That, I guess that's it. So start drinking. I mean, I know it's early,
a
but
little drinking game.
Take a shot every time I say reality and see if you can make it through the show.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it, and I'll work on it. There it is. Yeah, it is Gallagher Champ who noticed that. So, or maybe we'll have Kat ring the bell every time I say it, but I didn't say it. Okay, there's the bell. Somebody asked in there, maybe Natalie, where does Sebastian Walcott end up position-wise? I think in many ways, Jeff, it depends on what else shakes out here over the next couple of years. Because in real terms, I didn't say the reality is, did I? In real terms, he can play any position.
He's very athletic.
Yeah.
He's a big kid, and he continues to grow because, again, he's only 19. He played some third base this year. He started the futures game at third base. So I think Sebastian could play third base. I think that Sebastian could play right field. I say those two positions because Adolis Garcia may not be back.
Right.
And, there's some talk that some people think that the Rangers are going to move on from Josh Young. Now, maybe the financial restraints will limit that, but also maybe Josh Young could fetch a couple younger players who the Rangers might care for. So, anyway, but I don't think Sebastian is going to be in the major leagues next year. At least not to start the year for sure. Maybe the second half. He doesn't have to be put on the 40-man roster yet. So there's no concerns for that. I just think that you need to keep his age in mind. Again, he'll turn 20 on March the 14th. He was the second youngest player, I believe, in the Texas League and emerged from it as he was voted as the top prospect in the Texas League.
Amazing, yeah.
You just see the tools and everything. Obviously, young guys are going to strike out a lot, so he needs to limit that. He needs to tap into his power a little bit, which will come with maturity and size and getting stronger. He's a good kid, loves to talk, which he didn't necessarily do when he was 16, the first time I interviewed him, but he's since become very boisterous, and he's going to be in the fall league. So that's another, pay attention, see where he plays, see if he does get some time at third, see if he does get some time in the outfield. We'll see, but I don't think the Rangers are concerned about him having this long learning curve to learn an outfield position because he is so athletic. He's got the big arm. So I think that if that's where things end up, then that's where things end up. But I also don't think they have to, accelerate this either. There's no urgency to do it and say, all right, Sebastian, we need you to start playing catcher. Because
that ain't happening.
But I'm just saying, there's not a need for a position switch right now.
No, and there it was.
Hey-o!
There it
Hit
was.
the bell.
Ding. The reality is, thank you. The reality is that I believe, and I remember thinking this with Joey Gallo.
Yeah.
Looking at that kid when he's just a kid at spring training going, that kid's too big to play third base. Now, shortstop became a much larger position, person-wise, I guess, probably with Cal Ripken. So you don't have to, there doesn't have to be this model size, but I don't know why. I don't feel like a third baseman should be that tall. And ultimately, the Rangers didn't feel it about Joey Gallo either. Now, I don't know that it was just about his size, but he ends up in right field and became a great one.
Yeah, Gold Glove
winner in right field. And so I think I see, the just Sebastian Walcott ending up somewhere in the outfield.
Yeah, when Joey came up, everybody was like, "Oh, he's going to be like Tim Salmon." Was it Tim Salmon? The big guy for the Angels, third baseman.
He wasn't as big as Joey.
Joey's taller.
Yeah,
Salmon was thicker.
Thicker.
Is that right? Or maybe it was somebody else. Troy Glass. Well, anybody. It was a former Angel, and but you're right. When shortstops are just big guys now.
Yeah.
I mean, Ellie De La Cruz is tall, right?
He is.
Wiry.
Maybe Sebastian Walcott size,
Yeah, Sebastian's thicker. But you're right. Cal Ripken was the first big shortstop. Corey Seager is a big shortstop. There are a lot of them around the league, and I would think that Sebastian can handle shortstop. He has to clean things up defensively. I mean, like Derek Jeter had 53 throwing errors as in rookie ball. It's going to get better. And Sebastian, and I'm not saying he was that wild or has been that wild. He just absolutely, will continue to improve on all facets of the game. But you're right. With Joey, we were always trying to get him off of third base.
Yes,
that was like the first story we wrote,
like a mission.
Yeah,
this guy's too big for third base. Somebody asked in the chat earlier, I thought the TV deal was doing really well. The people on TV did really well. They did a really nice job. And the people behind the scenes, they all did really well. Where it didn't do well enough was sales, right? I think it's a difficult, I believe they can get there because I know how Bally and before it, Fox worked. And in the early days of Fox, and I was always mad at them for telling us this because I'm like, if we're making all this money, why don't you give me more of it? But the reality is, there you go, they were making money. Thank you, Kat. They were making money.
Hey-o.
They were making money hand over fist. And we'd have these annual meetings where the chief financial guy would say, we thought we were going to make, X millions, and we made X millions times 5. And that's when I'd go, a little something for the effort over here, But anyway, so I think the money's there to be made. It just takes a little time to build all of that stuff up. They hired many people, not only the behind-the-scenes people who put the show on the air every day, but many of the people from sales also came over from Bally. So they'll get it done, but financially, it wasn't nearly as successful this year as what it looked like on the air. On the air, you'd look at it and go, oh, it's great. It's like it was for all these years with Fox and Bally. And it was, but they weren't making that kind of money. Not enough to support, right?
Yeah.
Exceeding the luxury tax and all that kind of thing.
Another check mark for Chuck Greenberg here, who negotiated that deal with Fox
then,
back that was one of the first things he did. I mean, I think he did it leading up to the sale because it happened quick. Anyway, and again, we're thinking those days might be done as far as that kind of money with a regional sports network.
Fox was overpaying there at the end, and I don't know that we would have heard, we're making more. We paid so much, and we're making more money than we thought we would.
Yeah,
based on, because they did that everywhere.
Yeah.
The Rangers might have been one of the first ones, but then they started throwing that kind of money at every team, and eventually it ran out, and so Fox wisely sold.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fox.
Yeah. I thought I saw a couple of questions about Jock Peterson.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Well, there's no chance he opts out. He has a chance to opt out. There is no chance he opts out because his money for next year is guaranteed, and he knows he's not getting that money anywhere from any other team based on what he did this year.
No, and I'll be darned. I would have loved to heard that exit interview. What do they say to him? Be like, hey, Jock, hey,
lose weight.
You need to lose some weight, pal. But I would think that the Rangers would eat 80% of that contract. If they could.
Oh, you believe they'd be willing
Yeah.
to eat? Okay.
I think they would. I don't know that for sure, but I bet there's a lot of people in that front office who would be willing to do that. And I just don't. Obviously he batted below 180 this year. He was hurt, but it doesn't matter.
And surged at the end. I mean, played much better,
right.
probably in the last month or month and a half, and still only got it to 170 something.
And there's we were sold, and I think Chris Young might have been too. Oh boy, what a great guy in the clubhouse. Hard to do when you're batting, 130 as he was, and when you're hurt. But I don't know how that ended up panning out for the Rangers. So that's something to watch too this offseason.
Yeah, keep it coming. We appreciate it. We'll be here each and every day answering questions like that, pondering all of it with you, letting you know what's happening in real time with your favorite baseball team, the Texas Rangers. We'll see you again tomorrow on another edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.